The diner's neon sign flickered like a dying heartbeat, casting a pink glow over the cracked vinyl booths. Lila's hands trembled as she poured coffee for a stranger, her apron stained with the ghosts of a double shift. She was nobody in Los Angeles, a 24-year-old waitress drowning in a city that chewed up dreams and spat out regrets. But tonight everything changed. Clara Voss walked in. The Clara Voss, Hollywood's untouchable star, whose face graced billboards and tabloids alike. Her presence filled the empty diner like a storm, and when her blue eyes locked on Lila's, the world tilted. "I'll have a black coffee," Clara said, her voice low, velvet, dangerous. Lila nodded, heart pounding, unaware that this moment would unravel her life. By midnight, she'd be tangled in Clara's orbit, carrying a secret that could shatter them both. Lila had always been invisible. In a city of glitz and ambition, she was a shadow, slinging plates at Mel's Diner on Sunset Boulevard, where truckers and dreamers came to nurse their disappointments. Her hazel eyes, bright with a hope she couldn't quite kill, scanned the room as she wiped down the counter for the 100th time that night. Clara's arrival was a jolt. The actress slipped into a corner booth, her leather jacket catching the dim light, her dark hair falling like a curtain over one shoulder. At 29, Clara was everything Lila wasn't: polished, powerful, untouchable. Her breakout role in Starless Sky had made her a household name, but the tabloids whispered of her guarded private life, her refusal to play Hollywood's games. "You're staring," Clara said, not looking up from her menu. Her lips curved into a half-smile, sharp and knowing. Lila flushed, nearly dropping the coffee pot. "Sorry, I didn't mean to." "Relax," Clara said, her gaze lifting. "I don't bite. Not unless you ask." The words hung in the air, playful but laced with something heavier. Lila laughed nervously, pouring the coffee with unsteady hands. She'd served celebrities before, B-listers mostly, who tipped poorly and demanded gluten-free everything. But Clara was different. Her presence was a current, pulling Lila under. They talked. Or rather, Clara talked and Lila listened, captivated. Clara spoke of late-night shoots, the pressure of fame, the loneliness of a city that worshipped her but didn't know her. Lila, emboldened by the late hour in the empty diner, shared fragments of her own life, her small-town Ohio roots, her dream of writing poetry, her fear of fading into nothingness. "You're not nothing," Clara said suddenly, her voice firm. "You're real. More than most people here." Lila's breath caught. The diner felt too small, the air too thick. When Clara's hand brushed hers while passing the sugar, it was electric, a spark that burned through Lila's carefully built walls. "Meet me after your shift," Clara said, sliding a napkin across the table with an address scrawled in Sharpie. "If you want." Lila stared at the napkin, her heart a drumbeat. She should have said no. She should have thrown it away. But at 2 a.m. when the diner closed, she found herself in an Uber, heading to a sleek Hollywood Hills mansion that screamed money and secrets. Clara opened the door, barefoot, in a loose silk shirt, her guard down in a way the tabloids would never capture. "You came," she said, almost surprised. "I don't know why I did," Lila admitted, stepping inside. The house was a maze of glass and marble, but Clara led her to a small balcony overlooking the city. They sat, sharing a bottle of wine, the night stretching endlessly before them. Clara's laughter was soft, her stories raw. She spoke of her first love, a woman, a secret buried under layers of PR spin. "Hollywood loves a story," she said, her voice bitter. "But not mine." Lila, emboldened by the wine and Clara's vulnerability, leaned closer. "Then tell me yours. The real one." Clara's eyes searched hers, and for a moment the world stopped. Then Clara kissed her, slow, deliberate, a kiss that tasted of wine and longing. Lila's mind screamed to pull back, but her heart surged forward, drowning out reason. They didn't sleep. They talked until dawn, tangled in each other's arms on a plush couch, the city sprawling below. Clara's fingers traced patterns on Lila's skin, each touch a promise, each whisper a risk. "I can't stay away from you," Clara murmured, her voice breaking. "But I can't keep you either." "Why not?" Lila asked, her voice small. Clara's smile was sad. "Because I'm a storm, Lila. And you're too good to get caught in it." When Lila left at sunrise, her head spun with the weight of the night. In her pocket was a folded note from Clara, tucked there while she slept. She didn't read it until she was back in her cramped apartment, the city waking around her. You're my secret now. Keep it safe. See. Lila's hand shook. She didn't know what it meant, but she felt its weight, a truth too fragile to hold, too dangerous to share. Lila's world fractured after that night. She went through her shifts at Mel's diner on autopilot, her mind replaying Clara's kiss, the note burning a hole in her pocket. Every clink of dishes, every shout from the kitchen, felt like an intrusion on the memory of that balcony, those hours where she'd felt seen for the first time. But Clara didn't call. Days turned into a week, then two. Lila checked the address on the napkin, half expecting it to be a mirage, but Google Maps confirmed the mansion was real. Clara's silence wasn't. It was a blade cutting deeper each day. Lila started noticing things: paparazzi lingering outside the diner, their cameras glinting like predators' eyes. She overheard whispers from customers, snippets about Clara's latest film, her rumored mystery woman. Lila's stomach churned. Was she the mystery? Or was she just a fool, clinging to a moment that meant nothing to a star like Clara? One night, desperation won. Lila scrolled through Clara's ex account, a curated feed of red carpet smiles and cryptic quotes. No hint of their night together. But there, buried in the comments, was a photo, a grainy shot of Clara leaving Mel's diner, timestamped the night they met. Below it, a caption. Who's the waitress Clara Voss was cozy with? Lila's heart stopped. She slammed her phone down, her tiny apartment closing in. The note in her pocket felt like a bomb now, its words, "You're my secret now," a warning she hadn't heeded. She went to work the next day, paranoid, scanning every customer for a hidden camera. When her shift ended, she found a black SUV idling outside the diner. A man in a suit, all business, approached her. "Lila Monroe?" he asked, voice clipped. She froze. "Who's asking?" "Ms. Voss would like to see you. Now." Lila's instinct screamed to run, but her feet moved toward the car. The drive was silent, the city blurring past. They pulled up to a gated estate, different from the mansion, more secluded. Clara was waiting in a sleek living room, her face pale, her eyes shadowed. "You didn't call," Lila said, her voice sharper than she meant. Clara winced. "I couldn't. Not after." She gestured vaguely, but her hands shook. "They're watching me, Lila." "Always watching." "Who?" Lila demanded, stepping closer. "The paparazzi? Your agent. Who cares?" Clara laughed, a hollow sound. "You don't get it. I'm not just a person. I'm a brand. A lie. And you're a risk." The words stung, but Lila saw the fear in Clara's eyes, the cracks in her polished facade. "Then why am I here?" "Because I can't stop thinking about you," Clara whispered, closing the distance between them. Her hands cupped Lila's face, her touch desperate. "But if they find out about us, they'll destroy you to get to me." Lila's breath hitched. "I'm not afraid." "You should be," Clara said, her voice breaking. They kissed again, harder this time, like they were stealing time. But the moment was shattered by a phone call. Clara's agent, barking about a leaked photo, a scandal brewing. Clara's face went ashen. "You need to go," she said, shoving an envelope into Lila's hands. "Take this. Don't come back." Lila stumbled out, the envelope heavy with cash and another note. "Run. Keep us safe." She didn't sleep that night. The money was enough to disappear. $10,000, crisp and cold. But Clara's words haunted her. Run. From what? From her? By morning, Lila made a choice. She wouldn't run. Not yet. She stuffed the envelope in her bag and boarded a bus to San Francisco, her heart torn between fear and defiance. She wasn't just a waitress anymore. She was carrying Clara's secret, and she'd protect Idavan if it meant losing herself. San Francisco was a maze of fog and freedom, a city where Lila hoped to vanish. She rented a cheap room in the Mission District, the kind of place where no one asked questions. The envelope of cash sat untouched in her bag, a reminder of Clara's warning and the life Lila had left behind. But Clara was everywhere. Her face stared from magazine covers and corner stores, her voice echoed in radio ads. Lila couldn't escape the pull, the memory of Clara's lips, her fear, her plea to run. At night, Lila reread the notes, tracing Clara's sharp handwriting, searching for answers. Keep us safe. What did it mean? Was it love? Or was Lila just collateral damage in Clara's glittering world? She found work at a small cafe, serving overpriced lattes to tech bros and artists. It was a shadow of her old life, but safer until the day a woman in sunglasses lingered too long at a corner table, her phone angled toward Lila. Paranoia surged. Was she being followed? Lila's fears were confirmed when a tabloid hit the stands, its headline screaming, "Clara Voss's secret lover. Who is she?" A blurry photo of Lila at Mel's diner was plastered across the cover, her apron unmistakable. The article speculated wildly groupie, gold digger, nobody. Lila's hand shook as she read it, her anonymity crumbling. She called the only person she could think of, her sister Emma back in Ohio. "I'm in trouble," Lila said, her voice low. Emma, practical and fierce, didn't hesitate. "Come home, Lila. Whatever this is, it's not worth it." But Lila couldn't go back. Not yet. She needed to know why Clara had pushed her away, why she'd given her the money, why she'd called her a risk. She scoured X for clues, finding a cryptic post from Clara. "Some truths are too heavy to carry alone." Was it a message? A confession? Against her better judgment, Lila sent Clara a text from a burner phone she'd bought with the cash. "I'm in SF. Talk to me." The reply came hours later. "Stay hidden." "I'm sorry." Lila's heart sank, but anger flared too. She wasn't a pawn. She deserved answers. She booked a bus back to LA, the city she'd fled, driven by a need she couldn't name. When she arrived, LA was a furnace, the air thick with heat and tension. She went straight to Mel's diner, hoping for a trace of Clara. The manager, a gruff man named Joe, pulled her aside. "You've got nerve coming back," he said. "Reporters have been sniffing around. Said you're mixed up with that actress." "I'm not mixed up with anyone," Lila lied, her voice steady. Joe sighed. "There's a package for you. Came yesterday." It was a small box, no return address. Inside was a key and a note in Clara's handwriting. "Meet me at the observatory. Midnight. Please." Lila's pulse raced. The Griffith Observatory was a public place, but at midnight it was a gamble. She went anyway, the key heavy in her pocket. Clara was there alone, leaning against the railing, the city lights sprawling below. She looked smaller, fragile, nothing like the star on the screen. "You shouldn't have come," she said, but her voice cracked with relief. "You don't get to decide that," Lila said, stepping closer. "What's the key for? Why am I running?" Clara's eyes glistened. "It's not just about us. It's bigger. I'm not who they think I am." Before Lila could press her, headlights cut through the darkness. A car screeched to a stop and Clara grabbed Lila's hand. "Run," she whispered, and they did, sprinting into the night, the key burning in Lila's pocket, a secret neither of them could yet name. The key was a mystery, a cold weight in Lila's hand as she and Clara fled down the winding paths of Griffith Park. The night was alive with danger, headlights flashing behind them, footsteps echoing too close. Clara's grip was iron, her breath ragged, but she didn't slow down. They ducked into a shadowed alcove near the observatory, hearts pounding. "Who's after you?" Lila whispered, her voice barely audible over the rustling leaves. "Not me," Clara said, her eyes wild. "Us. The key, it's to a safe. Something I was never supposed to keep." Lila's mind raced. "What's in it?" Clara hesitated, then pulled Lila closer. "Proof. Of who I really am. Of what I've hidden for years." Before Lila could ask more, a flashlight beam swept past, forcing them to crouch lower. Clara's hand trembled in hers, and Lila realized this wasn't just about fame or scandal. Clara was scared, terrified in a way that made Lila's chest ache. They waited until the footsteps faded, then slipped back into the city, hailing a cab to a nondescript motel in East LA. The room was dim, the air stale, but it was safe for now. Clara locked the door, her movements jerky. "Tell me everything," Lila said, sitting on the edge of the bed. "No more secrets." Clara paced, her leather jacket discarded, her vulnerability stark. "I'm not just Clara Voss, the actress. I'm someone else. Someone I buried to survive in this industry." She stopped, her voice dropping. "My real name is Claire Voster. I grew up in a small town like you. But I ran away because of who I loved, because loving her wasn't allowed." Lila's breath caught. "A woman." Clara nodded, her eyes distant. "Her name was Sarah. We were kids, reckless in love. But my family, they didn't understand. I left to protect her, to protect myself. I reinvented myself as Clara Voss, but I kept evidence, letters, photos, a life I couldn't erase. That's what's in the safe. Lila's mind spun. And someone wants it? My agent, Clara said, her voice bitter. He's known for years. He's been blackmailing me, keeping me in line. If those letters get out, my career's over. But worse, they'll drag Sarah into this. She's married now, happy. I can't let that happen. Lila reached for her, their fingers intertwining. Why give me the key? Clara's eyes softened. Because you're the only one I trust. You're real, Lila. You're not part of this machine. The words hit hard, but so did the danger. Lila realized she was in deep, too deep. But looking at Clara, her walls crumbling, Lila felt a fierce need to protect her. They made a plan. The safe was in a private storage unit downtown, accessible only with the key. They'd go at dawn, retrieve the contents, and decide what to do next. But as they lay together in the motel's sagging bed, Clara's head on Lila's chest, fear gave way to something softer. I don't deserve you, Clara whispered. Lila kissed her forehead. You don't get to decide that either. Dawn came too soon. They drove to the storage unit, the key heavy in Lila's hand. The facility was quiet, but every shadow felt like a threat. Clara punched in a code, and they found the safe, a small steel box hidden behind a stack of crates. Lila inserted the key, her heart pounding. The safe clicked open, revealing a stack of letters, faded photos, and a journal. Clara's hand shook as she touched them, her past spilling out. But before they could leave, the door to the unit slammed open. A man stood there, Clara's agent, his face twisted with rage. You thought you could run? He snarled, stepping forward. Lila clutched the journal, her heart racing. They were trapped, and the secret they held was about to ignite. The agent's shadow loomed in the dim storage unit, his eyes glinting with malice. Lila gripped the journal, her body shielding Clara, who stood frozen, clutching the letters. Give me the box, he said, his voice low, dangerous. Or I ruin you both. Lila's mind raced. She was nobody, a waitress, a speck in LA's sprawl. But she wasn't invisible anymore. Not to Clara, and not to herself. She stepped forward, heart hammering. You don't scare me, she lied, her voice steady. The agent laughed, cold and sharp. You're out of your depth, kid. Hand it over. Clara's hand found Lila's, a silent plea. But Lila saw something else in her eyes, trust. It gave her courage she didn't know she had. No, Lila said, tucking the journal under her arm. You want it? Come get it. The agent lunged, but Lila was faster, shoving a crate into his path. Crashed, buying them seconds. Go! Lila shouted, pulling Clara toward the door. They sprinted into the dawn, the city waking around them, oblivious to their fight. They didn't stop until they reached a crowded coffee shop, blending into the morning rush. Clara's face was pale, her hands shaking as she clutched the letters. He'll never stop, she whispered. He knows too much. Then we fight back, Lila said, her voice fierce. We tell the truth. Your truth. Clara's eyes widened. If I come out, if those letters get out, it's over. My career, my life. Your life isn't theirs. Lila cut in. It's yours. And mine's not much, but it's real. We can do this together. Clara stared at her, tears brimming. For the first time, she looked like Claire Voss, not the star, but the girl who'd loved and lost. You do that? For me. For us, Lila said, squeezing her hand. They spent the day in hiding, poring over the letters and journal. Each page was a piece of Clara's heart, her love for Sarah, her pain, her reinvention. Lila saw herself in those words, her own dreams of being more than a shadow. By nightfall, they made a choice. Clara contacted a trusted journalist, someone outside her agent's reach. They met in a quiet park, the city's hum a distant backdrop. Lila sat beside Clara as she handed over the journal, her voice steady as she told her story, her real name, her first love, the blackmail that had caged her for years. The journalist listened, her recorder capturing every word. This will change everything, she said softly. Are you sure? Clara looked at Lila, her eyes clear. I'm sure. The story broke the next morning. Headlines screamed. Clara Voss comes out, exposes Hollywood blackmail. The internet exploded. X buzzing with support and hate in equal measure. Clara's agent was arrested. His threats empty without the evidence he'd sought. Lila and Clara stayed in a small apartment, away from the chaos. The world knew Clara's truth now, and Lila's name was tied to it. Nobody no more. They faced the fallout together, fielding calls, dodging reporters. But in the quiet moments they found each other, kisses stolen in the kitchen, laughter over cheap wine, dreams whispered in the dark. One night as LA glittered below, Clara took Lila's hand. "You gave me back my life," she said. Lila smiled, her heart full. "You gave me one worth living." They didn't know what came next, fame, scrutiny, or something quieter. But they had each other, and that was enough. Lila, the nameless waitress, had run away with a star's secret and found her own strength in the process. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe to get notifications about next videos.